And we're back, guys. It's the College Kids with Wilson right here, and
Fernanda from the College Kids.
and we have a very, very special guest today, and his name is
Anthony Smith of the Exotic Network.
Ooh.
Sounded fancy, huh? Doesn't it fancy?
He sounds fancy.
Fancy.
This guy right here is, well, I was gonna, say out your accolades, but this guy's got so much. He is.
Wilson always
Go.
tells me I've lived like 3 different lives.
Yeah, go, come on, let's go. Anthony
9
Smith,
lives and
the Exotic
9
Network.
lives. Start from the beginning.
Yeah, let's run it.
We had A&A Extreme Hauling, A&A Extreme Trucking. We had, of course, the Exotic Network, BBM,
4.
the IBR
5.
registry. I'm sure I'm forgetting something that'll
No,
come into play once we get in. Oh, towing company, another
6.
towing company. Man. Oh, the DJ thing. DJ Peoples.
7.
That would be 7. Yeah.
People's Media, 8.
People's Media, 8.
This man has lived by no means
Yeah.
boring life. This guy has done a lot. He is multifaceted. I like to make the joke.
Yeah, the
Well-rounded.
multifaceted. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna pick your brain. Here at the College Kids, we like to understand why.
Okay.
The question of why, why go to college? Why do this? Why do that? And you, as someone that I know personally, has not gone to college,
Mhm.
but has made more than a lot of people that have got bachelor's, master's, and doctorates that I know in their field. You've accomplished,
all of the millionaires I know have not gone to college.
and that's what I wanted to figure out. So
All of them. Every last one of them.
explain to me why. Why do you think that's even like a common occurrence?
I think it takes a certain personality to realize that you don't need someone looking over your shoulder to like pat you on the back and say, "Good job, Wilson. That was great. I'm going to think about moving you up to vice president next month." It's just
Yeah.
like, I'm going to own it. I'm going to run it. I'm going to do what I want to do. So it's a lot of strong-minded individuals and people that really believe in what it is that they're doing, no matter if it's from one guy I know is worth $400 million, and this guy owns probably the largest pizza company on the East Coast. And he owns, I think he owns like 600 of them now. So
Wow.
they are literally like the Little Caesars of the East Coast. And I heard there's a place out here, but I haven't been to it, that compares to his company out there, and it's Pyology out here on the West Coast.
So it's like a customizable pizza spot.
Yes, so it's basically Little Caesars, not Little Caesars, it's Subway for pizza.
Yeah, that's biology.
Yeah.
And I just literally thought that was crazy. Like, you're literally going to make this pizza and you're not going to cook it. They have no ovens.
Oh,
They don't cook. That's what I'm
I've
saying.
heard of that company.
Pyology, they cook the pizza?
Yeah.
Okay, for his company, they do not.
So they give you the box and
Yes.
take it to go home?
Yes, and you go home.
What?
Yes.
And
but
he's got
every-
600.
But bro, when I tell you this pizza is by far, there's no pizza that I've ever
Compares.
had that compared to it. None.
When that
They make
simple
the
idea.
dough fresh every day.
Okay.
The sauce is made fresh daily.
Okay.
Everything that you're putting on, all the toppings are cut daily fresh.
Daily. Wow.
So it's like
Nothing's
you're
frozen.
getting no, nothing's frozen at all. And that's what I mean by the Subway. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
they literally box it. You go home and you tear the top off and you slide it in the oven.
And it's that easy. Wow.
Said my
so-
girl would kill me if I came home with some pizza that wasn't cooked.
Yeah, no, I was like, that's something new right there.
Like, you
have
waited
to
20
cook it?
minutes and I still gotta cook it. What?
Yeah, no, it's.
So,
But those ideas are the ones that make millionaires. Like
Right.
things that nobody's ever thought of.
and his dad helped him out tremendously. His dad is a Wall Street guy, and
Banker.
yeah, so he used some of the Wall Street money from like the 60s and 70s that he kind of killed it for the family.
Yeah.
And helped his son
Reinvested.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was like, my son's always been a hustler. I met the dad too, and I had no idea the dad was who he was. But when you're like 75 and your wife's like 30, it kind of looks like you got a little bit of money. You know what I mean?
A little bit of dough.
What it could be.
a little bit.
He has a good
Just a little bit.
personality.
Yeah, great personality.
Great personality. I bet.
But he was just telling me how his son was as a kid, and he knew that college was not for his son. He was like, so I knew that I had the financial stability for my son to fail
and keep trying.
and try again, or fail and go to college if that's what he chose to do after trying a couple different things. And he was like, the dad went to college, and he was like, what my son wanted to do, I didn't necessarily agree in, but I believed in the kid, which was his son, and at that time a 40-something-year-old man. Yeah.
So it really does come down to sometimes just not only believing in yourself, but the back side of things. So like your parents, like
and
being able to have that type
That
of support.
system. Yeah.
You got to have some form of a support system or something that you feel like you don't want to go back to. So there's another situation, which is another millionaire buddy, and he just grew up super poor. His dad ended up getting deported back to Mexico for whatever illegal activities the dad was into, and it was just him and his mom. And he was just like, we were so broke, and I was just so destined to get us out of this situation that it was like there was no way that I could fail, because I had to go home and literally look my mom back in the face and let her know, like, I don't know what we're going to do, you know? Yeah. So he took his dad's old truck and just started working his dogs and selling them and just getting them out there. And he was the person who is now probably the number one, not probably, he's the world's biggest breeder, period, on the planet, you know? And it just happens to be somebody that's extremely close to me now. But he said when Facebook first came around, it was like like the perfect storm. You know what I mean? Like, he was young enough to understand what Facebook could be, and he understood that it was free, but he was going to be able to promote whatever it was that his product was and get it out there to millions of people, and it was absolutely free. And it was at the time that it was growing like crazy because it had switched. Facebook was, when it first came out, it was just for colleges. Right?
Yeah.
So then once it opened up to the public, he was like, oh my gosh, this is going to work. So when he posted, he kind of he believed in the dog, but he never thought the dog was going to do what the dog did. So he posted, this is the first $1 million bully, is what the post said. And he just, all the laughs, all the laughing emojis, and like people talking crap underneath.
But it was still giving engagement.
Exactly.
So people were getting those views, being able to see him.
Yes. But he was never in love with the attention. He was in love with the money. And he knew that at that time, attention equaled money, because now it was going to keep the eyes on him. So as this dog started to develop, those people, even the people that were laughing, ended up becoming customers.
So it's not only sometimes being like a very like hustler mindset, but it's being able to see those type of moments in time.
And another thing is, all of these people were young and believed in what they were trying to do, right? So it's like you guys that are coming out of high school and really believing in what it is that you're doing, if you have a semi-stable home base, like, go for it. You know what I mean? Because your parents are going to see you trying, and that's what they want. You know what I mean? No matter how the success comes, they want to see you be successful. So they're going to be more accepting of you. I'm going to put it in my case. My parents were more accepting of me failing at the businesses that failed just because I was out there hustling and trying. You know what I mean? Like, son, you always got a place to stay, because at the same time, it was like, I'm not freeloading. Like, I'm not just coming home, like, or living off of a girl and like, hey, she kicked me out. It's like, you're really out here trying to do something and trying to change your life for the better and your kid's life for the better. And, you know, hiccups happens, you know, because at that point when you are an entrepreneur, you're on a full-time like
job. It doesn't ever stop.
Not a full-time job. You're always learning. You're learning on the job as you're doing things. Definitely. And the one thing that I learned with one of my first businesses was I didn't want to be the owner, but I was the owner. And what I mean by that is the people that we would go and do work for would try and take advantage. Like, oh, you could do it for this price. Come on, bro. Like, you could do that. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's a 40-year-old man talking to a 19-year-old kid in their eyes, and that's what they see. No matter if in public society's eyes you're an adult, you guys are both equal. No. This man has many, many more years, and he's looking at you as this young, you know, gym-bound. Hey, man, you could do this for $200, and I'm like, no, we can't. You know, so after like me getting talked down a couple times, I would just literally go and pretend like I was calling my boss.
Oh.
That's
Hey man,
smart.
do you think that da 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 da? And no, all right. And then I would go back over and be like, hey man, the boss said no, and he'd be like, all right man, I still need you guys to do it, and then we would jump on it. But there was nobody ever on the other line. It was all
It was
me.
just
My
you.
mind was already made up. We weren't gonna do the job.
Yeah.
But it was my personality, and everybody doesn't have a dominant personality to just be able to say, hey bro, no, I am the owner of the company, and no, this is the price. You know what I mean? So that was something that was a trait that was inside of me that I had to like,
Force.
yeah, not force, but like work out,
Definitely
like figure
learn.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be able to engage with people and be able to understand what works, what doesn't work.
The very first time I learned about subcontracting, I had a hauling company, and I was probably like 20, maybe 21. And I had this little dump truck, and we would just go around, and we were just like cleaning up yards and picking up trash for people, like not physical trash, but like junk that they would have in their yards.
Yeah.
The area that we live in is vast. So people have a lot of land, and people are junky. You just start collecting stuff, and you don't realize you have too much of it. And then it comes time that you have to clean a house out, clean a garage. They will call us. So I don't want to say ahead of my time, but I was posting to the yellow pages. I was posting to
Yeah, big books.
there was a little booklet that was out. I can't think of the name of it. Another like yellow pages type book, but it was way smaller.
Advertisement.
Yes,
Okay.
advertisement, right?
Yeah.
You would pay weekly, your ads will go in.
Okay.
But anytime we got contacted out of the yellow pages, it was always a big job.
Okay.
Asian lady calls me from New York. She tells me her dad owns property in Hesperia, and it needs to get cleaned out. So me and my best friend, he wasn't a partner. He was just my best friend. You know what I mean? I took all my friends on the jobs to try and help out, put some money in their pockets. They all lived at my house. And
Dang, he was always the big baller. Right.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, hold up. Before you even go deep into it, how big? When was the first time you said it was your house?
yeah, I bought my first house my dad gave my sister and I our first home when I turned 18.
Wow.
Then when I was 20, we sold that home and split the money and gave my dad some money. So I took 120,000. My sister took 120,000, and my dad, I think we gave him like 60 grand, right? My sister went and bought a modest home, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom,
Dope.
built in the 90s. I wanted something brand new. KB
What year was
Homes. This is 07.
07. Oh, okay.
No. 07 was when it started to go bad.
Yeah.
So this is 2005.
For that.
6, 5,
Jordy's just born. This is 05.
05.
So I'm about to have a daughter. I'm 20, going on 21, and I just wanted the biggest house that I could get. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm young.
Why
We're gonna
not?
continue having kids. Like, I would rather buy one house rather than buying a small house and having to sell that house
Keep
later.
on.
So I ended up buying a house for like $350,000. So I ended up buying the house, and then I bought my daughter's mom at the time a brand new Civic. I had a Range Rover. I had a street bike.
Range Rover and a street bike.
Yeah.
No, always been balling.
But you guys, I was such like
You a hustler though.
I'm gonna be a
You-
millionaire that I didn't. None of this looked outside. Like it didn't look. It was
didn't-
normal to me
Yeah,
because
it
was
always fit.
yeah. It was
It was never like, oh, you got this, but you also got like a huge amount of
no.
this.
So like I would get out of my Range Rover and people would be like, "Bro, how do you afford this truck?" And like now you're pulling up on a brand new street bike. And my neighbors literally thought that I was a drug dealer because I worked graveyard, so I was home during the day. And then of course, once you get out of high school, you're still young, or in college, you still
Right.
communicate with a lot of young people. So it was people coming over all the time. It looked like maybe a drug house, but we didn't have traffic like that. But it was just always young people,
Yeah.
5-bedroom. I think my house was like 3,500 square feet, 2 stories, 5 bedrooms. It was huge. It was
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
a
real
huge
big.
house.
Big.
But I worked for the railroad, and then I owned my own business. So it was like it was money coming like crazy. And then at this time, people were taking loans out on their houses and doing these home developments and like adding on to their homes, or like just doing stuff to their houses. So my hauling company was booming, and I would literally go to work and I would pay my boss so I could sleep. Here goes $100. Just let me go to sleep.
Dang.
Yeah.
Take a nap.
Take a nap.
Be able to
So-
rest up.
But that situation isn't going to be everybody's
Yeah.
situation, And
So how do you feel? Well, go back to the hauling, like your first
so
subcontract.
You out of high school, you went straight to the railroad, you said?
I was
Or
working
was
for
it-
Foot Locker, and that's
Okay.
another interesting
Right.
story is how I ended up at the railroad. I was working at Foot Locker, and the manager of Foot Locker from the time I was a junior up until I was like 19, 20 when I started at the railroad. One of my buddies ended up having a kid with the regional manager's daughter of BNSF. So I ended up going to a family party, and Dan, which was the regional manager, we're just talking, talking shit. Like he had a little bar, the bar's set up, and we're making drinks and we're talking. And he's like, "Hey man, I like you." And he's like, "What do you do for a living?" And I'm like, I work at Foot Locker." And he's like, "You mind me asking, what do you make?" So I tell him, and he's like, "You want to make some real money?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, of course. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Listen, I got a job for you. Show up on Monday, but we're drunk." You know what I mean? Like, I'm not thinking this.
So you don't
guy's
know
serious.
if it's serious or
Yeah.
not.
So I ended up not showing up, and he calls me. And Dan is the kind of guy that you just pay respect to. So it's like when I saw his number, I'm like, "What the hell is this guy calling for?" But I pick up,
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Hey Dan, what's going on?" He's like, "Hey, how come you didn't show up today?" And I'm like, I thought you were just joking." He's like, "No, I don't joke. Tomorrow, show up." And I'm like, "Well, I need to put in like a 2-week notice, this, that, and the third." He's like, "No, tomorrow, show up." So I went down to the railroad, and there was no orientation, no drug test, no interview, no nothing. I'm in.
That's crazy.
And it was so crazy, especially at this time, because even now, it's really hard to get into the railroad.
Right.
And the railroad is like comparable to being a police officer, a fireman. They all
Good money.
those jobs align with each other. It's good benefits.
Yeah.
The retirement's good. All of that stuff is good. But me receiving my first paycheck, and I was like, "This ain't it. Like, I'm never gonna be able to
Retire early.
no
Do anything.
And the thing that I always did when I got a job, because I always had a job and a side hustle,
Okay.
was look at the people who are in the higher up in the company. How are they living? And it's like, bro, if you're coming to work right now in your 5-year-old Suburban, living in a neighborhood that you don't want to live in, but you're like 3 or 4 steps above me, I don't want that job. You know what I mean? And everybody has different money problems and maybe,
Yeah.
this and that, blah. I don't know exactly the way that they were living, but I knew it wasn't no Lamborghinis in the parking lot.
You knew it wasn't
You know what I mean?
up there.
It wasn't no Mercedes in the parking lot. Like, the way that these guys are living are like regular people, And it's
Yeah.
like, if I'm going to have to live like a regular person, I want to be able to have more time. And sometimes it's not all about making money, you guys. It's about the time that you're never going to get back. So you're actually working for time. You're not working for money. The more money you get, the more time you're going to be able to have to do the things that you want to do. And that's the one thing that it has taken me a long time to develop and
understand.
realize and understand that that's what it's about,
So really, it does come down to sometimes just understanding the little things
Yeah.
and knowing. But something that I really wanted to.
Because money truly isn't going to. And my girlfriend, I had a girlfriend, not my lady now, but she used to always tell me, like, when's it going to be enough? Like, when are you going to have enough? Like, you're living in this
Yeah.
beautiful home. You got like 50 grand in a safe upstairs. And you're still like, it's
Hustling. Just
hustling.
hustling
Like,
every day.
And I'm like, no, it's about the hustle. Like, I don't care about none of this stuff. Like, I'll give all this stuff to my baby mama, my girlfriend, whatever, and do it all over again. You know what I mean? Like, it's more about like somebody saying that you can't do something and then you being able to do it, And that was one thing that's always been heavy on my mind. You know what I mean? Like, ambitious. Like, I wasn't a straight A student. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't going to be the valedictorian and go be a doctor somewhere or go do this or go do that. But I knew that I could outwork the person who was smarter than I was. But it was about doing it in a smart way, in a smart fashion. And I knew if I combined the wit that I had with dealing with people in like individual situations with me being a hard worker, I was going to be able to go far,
So, as someone that has done all these things and got the accolades and has worked their ass off and has that hustler mindset, who do you think being in college is for?
So, for instance, my daughter. I have a daughter who just graduated from high school.
Okay.
I feel like she's still, not that she needs college, but she still needs further guidance.
So
And
it
I
develops
would
some
be
type of structure.
afraid for her in her mindset because she's so young and naive. And not that she's not a hard worker, not that she's not smart. She's all of that. but she just doesn't have a direction, right? You like a lot of kids that come out of high school or going into college, they still don't know what they're gonna do. Like you're like, what's your master? What are you gonna do once you get out of college? And I have a cousin who just recently graduated from college with his bachelor's, right?
Yeah.
He's going back because he still don't know what he wants to do.
So that's kind of a problem now, isn't it? Like I see that a lot now in today's like college going enthusiastic students. It's you're going and you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that's expensive.
that
sounds
really is
expensive.
expensive.
I don't know. I didn't, you know. I told my kid, I said, listen, when you go to college, you need to treat this like a career, a job, anything else, right? Because if you go in there, you think you're just about to go to these frat parties and have fun and this and that, and somebody's going to continue to pay for you to go to school, you're losing your mind. Dad, I'm not doing it. So as long as I see you achieving your goals, I don't care if you have fun. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to have fun in high school. I want you to have fun throughout life. But it's about managing the fun with responsibilities.
Yeah.
Right.
So now that so college is meant for somebody that needs not only structure but some sort of guidance in how they look forward to work in life.
Yeah. And then sometimes you need just the connections.
So
Because sometimes it's good just to be around a bunch of like-minded people.
Individuals.
There's so many people that have gone to college, found a bunch of buddies, and started a company and left.
yes,
Yeah.
Right?
very true.
Right? Zuckerberg, right?
Zuckerberg,
I don't like there's so
Jobs,
many
yes.
Right? There's so many billionaires that have went to school, found like-minded people like them, started a company and got out of there.
Yeah,
Right.
So sometimes it's about surrounding
Networking.
yourself around a network of people that are about doing the same thing, even if you don't know what that thing is. It might be something that Wilson comes to play and like, we're like, we can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't always, because everybody's not meant to be a boss. Everybody's
Yeah.
not meant to be a CEO. There still needs to be employees, but you can be a high-ranking employee if you help start one of these companies, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
But then, how do you differentiate someone like that's coming right out of high school,
Uh-huh.
and they don't practically like know or like college, but they don't know if they got that hustle inside of them to say, you know, I got this passion and I want to do it. Should I jump the board and keep this alive, or should I go into college? Because there's a lot of us that are now seeing the difference, seeing that college is good.
In 2022, there's millions, literally, of ways of making money. And I feel like as long as you're not going to go to school, but you're doing something that you genuinely love to do. I have a best friend. My best friend's name is Yvette. Shout out to Yvette. Her sister, Pita, always wanted to do hair. And she just didn't know how she was going to get into the LA scene. She just didn't know, like, the ins and outs of what it was going to take. What was the difference between someone who's at Supercuts and someone who's doing Madonna's hair?
Yeah.
The hairstyle's the same, but somehow you made it to Madonna and you made it to the local beauty salon or barbershop around the corner, right? She does any top list celebrity's hair that you can think of now. And she doesn't even consider herself having a company. She's just a freelance hairdresser.
Right.
And she gets picked up and goes on tours around the world. She just left with like Lady Gaga the other day. She's always gone with somebody. She's always in these remote locations that you just see blue water and palm
Fresh
trees,
water, and it looks nice and clean.
and
The
umbrella
Bahamas.
right?
Yeah.
Floating in a lazy river, you know, and she's happy, you know.
But
And
she's an
like,
expert. Like, that's what she does. That's the only thing she does.
That is what she's always wanted to do, and she found her lane of doing it. And she literally just left the high desert and was like, I'm moving to LA. Like, I'm going to go move to LA, and I'm going to figure it out. And she just made it happen. She just made it like there's no way back for me. And then I have another friend who never left the high desert, and he has a multi-million-dollar barbershop. And everyone told him, you will never put a black barbershop into the mall. It just won't happen. He did it. And he has one of the biggest barbershops with over 40 barbers on his staff in Southern California. And he's young.
Wow.
Poe is 32.
Post 32. I'm sorry. Hold up. Wait.
Drives
what?
around in a $140,000 Mercedes. Has his wife in a $70,000-$80,000 Mercedes. Just bought a $2.2 million home.
Yeah,
Like,
pull up in
you
the
guys,
Maybach.
like, don't let your dreams like
Fade out.
exceed what your expectations are. You know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be ups and downs in life, but you just got to push through. Poe's had ups and downs, but he just worked hard and never let anybody tell him no, and stayed in his field and became a master at it. But he paid attention to what everybody in his field was doing and what they weren't doing. And he implemented the things that he felt like the barber industry needed into his own company, and took out the things that were in the black barbershop that were going to keep him from being a Supercuts or one of these, nationally motivated companies that are out there.
So it takes more than just being able to like have this like rigor and you're good at this one thing or you're great at it. You also have to be a little bit more of a business mindset person. Like you can't just go out there and expect to make millions.
No, Poe was not. Listen. Poe will tell you guys need to get Poe on College Kids. That would be dope. You guys should do it in the barbershop or in the new studio that we just set up. You can do it right there.
Yes.
But he didn't know. And the cool thing about seeing somebody that's a barber is it's like you build this personal relationship, because I will get my hair cut weekly. You know what I mean? Because I've always been, for a long time, besides the ladies keeping me motivated, like if I look good, I feel good. And if I feel good, I'm at my best, right? There's nothing that you can tell me when I'm fly and I'm stepping out of a dope whip. Like there's nothing that nothing, bro. Nothing.
With the Timbs and everything?
What?
And cleaned out with a fade?
What?
Oh.
Listen. Okay, so back to it. But there was nothing that no one could tell Poe that was going to move him away from what his dream was. And seeing him start off working for someone, to starting his own barbershop, to cleaning that barbershop up, just the legacy of what he's leaving behind and his trail, when you look back, it got nothing but bigger.
Okay.
Each
and he
step of
just
the way.
learned as he went along the way.
Yes, and that's what I was getting to
savvy.
by being there weekly, is he's telling me, like, Aunt, I learned this week. What are you doing with your business? You know what I mean? Because we were the two young guys that had businesses at the time. We're around 40 and 50-year-olds that are like doing the stuff that we're doing, but
they
we're
got years in it.
19, 20. You know what I mean? And these older guys are looking at us and not necessarily giving us the information or guidance that we needed, just kind of watching what we're doing. You know what I mean? And I feel like the internet has helped that out.
Oh, definitely.
In so many ways, right? It's like the way to get information and how fast information can move, and you can receive it on so many different ways. It's like, if you don't read, listen to an audiobook. Get the information that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people like to read and lay back in their in their bed and just read silently. Cool. However you have to get the information, get it, because it's out there. But it's going to do nothing but speed up the process.
I actually love that you brought that up, because that actually brings us to the point of college used to work. We like to think about it like 20, 30 years ago, like you coming out of high school. Everybody I bet told you, go to college. You'll get a good degree and you'll get a good job. The white collar, blue collar job, you'll get it. Get 50, 60,000 at the time. That's what the equivalent of like about 100 today. So that's a good paying job. But I think it's changed dramatically with the internet. It's changed dramatically with Google certificates. It's changed dramatically with the way that our education system is now not the only thing there to teach somebody how to do something.
Yes.
So how do you feel about that? Like, I know that college is still great. You're not going to get a great job maybe anymore, but you could get a Google certificate and you could walk into the field that college would have got you in.
No matter what piece of paper you get or you provide, you're still going to have to put the work in, right? You're not going to get a master's and think you're just going to walk in and everybody's going to bow down to you. It's not the military, right? You don't get ranking, and then due to the ranking, everybody has to say, Mr. Wilson, nice to meet you. That is not the way that it works. That is not what's going to happen. Okay. And for instance, not many, a few of my jobs, I've had a counterpart who went to school, me not going to school, and we're doing the same job, getting the same check. And he's paying his college loans off.
Yeah.
and coming to me asking for help because I'm the one who's knowledgeable on what it is that we're doing because I learned through doing the job, right? You learned a bunch of stuff through school that was generalistically going to help get you this job. You can now say, I can read computer analytics and help a company grow their company to blah, 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 right? But when you come into work, guess what? I've already grown 10
And done
companies, right? And just because I've never went to college doesn't mean that me and you can't do the same job. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to out hustle you or see, like, it would be, I would simply look over like, why are you asking me? You're the one that went to school.
So actually,
And it was a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could call my boy right now and we're friends to this day.
Yeah.
And it's like, Aunt, you say that and you're such an asshole. But I didn't have what you had. And I knew that I wanted to be a mechanic per se. So the only way for me to become a mechanic at the time was for me to go to a ITT Tech or a this
Yes.
or that. And I said, no, you could have started your own garage. You could have started with a tire shop and worked your way up. There's plenty of people that don't have any kind of degrees in mechanics or working on cars that are working on cars now, right? Because when your car's broken, it's not like your heart. Nobody's asking to see these certificates
Yeah.
that are on the wall. They just want you to fix their car.
Yeah. So, but okay, you've done a lot. You've worked all these different, and you've built so many side hustles to make actual businesses. How do you do that? How do you see that? Like, what's the difference
You
between
just
a
start.
college?
You just go for it. You just go.
Hold up, a college student that's gone into the job and someone that's hustled their way to learning all of it and being at that same position, getting that same paycheck.
No, the grind is different. It's like somebody who hits the lottery
Mhm.
and somebody who earns the money. The people that hit the lottery are more likely to give the money away and mess the money off than the people who have grinded from day one to get to that same position. It's like if I had to earn this $1 million and you came into $1 million because one of your grandparents died.
Oh, it's a completely
It's
different
different.
view.
Oh, bro. So it's the same thing, right? You're going to come in out of college with a chip on your shoulder because you felt like you went to college and you have some form of a degree, which you do, but you also have like a form of like due to society, like you're better than
Then
these other people that didn't do
work-
it. When in actuality, these people had a harder way of getting there because you had the guidance of asking a professor or doing this or doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know how college works. I don't know. I haven't been.
Yeah, it's something similar. It really is. College is set up in a way that
But that would be the closest analogy that I could think of. Don't feel like anybody owes you anything. No matter if you've gone to school
College
or
or
if you
not.
didn't go to school. And don't treat people any differently. Like, it's the same thing I tell my kid every day, right? You never know who's going to be your boss in 10 years. You might get out of school and show up, and guess who's your boss? And they're like, we can't hire her. Just because it's something that you did in high school, right?
Yeah.
So build those relationships.
Don't burn
Try
bridges.
not to burn bridges and work as hard as you possibly can, no matter what it is that you do in life.
Fair enough. Saying that and seeing all of what you've done and being able to see that grind, what would you say to someone that has gone to college, dropped out, and is trying to figure it out? Like they're point blank kind of in limbo.
Do it until you're 30. By the time you're 30, you need to find a career. It might not be going to school. You want to jump into a trade school. You want to be doing something serious by the age of 30.
Is that the sweet spot? That's the
I think
magic
it's
number?
the sweet spot, right? Because
Yeah.
we're living longer, right? So at
Oh,
the age of
yeah,
30,
that's half.
I feel like you're
That's a little
at
bit less than half, but yeah.
your
Prime.
not only at your no, I don't think you're at your prime until 40.
Really? Is it because you're about to hit 40?
Maybe.
No, but you know what they say, like your 20s are meant for you to take risks, to
Yes.
learn, to just
learn.
try everything you want to, and to be
Yes.
able to grow from that too.
Yeah. A part of growing from that, though, is the first thing that you have to be able to identify are the people that are in your circle and who's going to last, who's not going to last, who's wasting time, and who's really trying to do something. And once you figure that out, you're going to be able to move forward and accomplish so much more because you're going to realize who's holding you back and who's trying to help you move forward.
Thank you. We really appreciate this. We're gonna come back with this because I honestly we're gonna nitpick
I have-
you and
yeah. I have one more question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
before if
Go,
you're
go.
Closing that one out. So, from all the lessons, I guess, or everything that you've tried and learned, what do you think was the biggest lesson from all the businesses and everything that you have grown from?
Sometimes you got to be an asshole.
Mm.
Straight up. And I can give you guys a perfect example of that.
Yes.
I had my business and I had moved my friends into my house because everyone was still living at home. So I felt like if I gave them some form of responsibility, then they would
Mature up.
yeah. And that wasn't the case for everyone, So for 1 week I had like maybe $17,000 worth of work lined up for these guys. And I was taking a trip to Hawaii with my family. So we went to Hawaii, left one person in charge to take care of everything. And I came back and they handed me $2,000 and said the truck had a flat tire. But everybody was in my house smoking weed and playing video games. Oh, it got ugly real fast.
Oh.
And that was the point in my life that I realized, no, we're friends, but you guys are now disrespecting what I'm trying to build. So by you guys doing this, I need everybody the fuck out of my house right now.
It was in that moment that you
Yo,
knew. It was
you're
time to go.
telling me this truck has a flat tire
And you couldn't fix it?
and I'm missing $15,000 because of it? So this tire cost me $15,000. That's what you're telling me. Luckily, I was able to go back, and due to me being who I am, I was able to
bring him back.
Bring back some of those gigs. So we only ended up losing like $5,000, but it made me realize like these guys aren't as serious as they should be. And the other thing was they didn't have ownership in the company. So they felt like they didn't have anything to lose and they were easily replaceable, which they were. But I didn't see it that way. These guys are people that I grew up with that I was literally taking care of like they were my own kids, even more so then. And they were just fully taking advantage. So realizing your circle and who those people are that you guys call your core friends and the people that you guys believe in and hang out with on a daily basis, once you tighten that, you'll be able to move forward.
You'll be able to. I like that. Thank you for that. Actually, if you could just say something that you would tell every college going adult to them right now, like just tell them straight to them, like, is college worth it? Is whatever words of wisdom that you could tell them, what would they be?
Go for it while you still have your youth.
College?
No, whatever it is, go for it while you still have your youth. If your heart is set on college and you feel like that's something that you need to accomplish, like that's my kid. She feels like she needs to go through the steps that college are going to take her for her to succeed in life. So who am I to tell her not to do it, right?
Right.
No matter if I'm about to lose thousands of dollars because I don't agree that school is the way, it's her route.
Yeah.
But if you feel like you have this little invention and this is going to change the world, go for it. You're young. You have all the time in the world to go to school. Guess what? There's 50-year-old guys that are taking courses that they should have taken when they were 20. And there's 17-year-old kids that shouldn't even be in college that have surpassed, whatever it is that they're doing in high school. So now they're taking college courses. There's no direct
path.
There's no direct path. There's nobody that can tell you they know what's going to happen after this. After you finish and after you graduate, there's nobody promising you anything. So no matter what it is you feel in your heart, go for it. No matter if it's a hairdresser, a photographer, videographer, if you want to work for Google, you know what I mean? Like everybody's not meant to be a boss and an owner of a huge company. Some people just want to live in a suburban home and have that white picket fence.
Yeah.
That's it. Some people still want a husband that's just going to take care of everything and they're just going to sit back and take care of the kids. There's no correct way of doing it. Just go after it is, whatever that is that you believe in, But I don't think college is it. Sorry.
Hey, there you go. You guys heard it here. Anthony Smith, CEO of like 17,000 companies. And he's telling you guys, like, sometimes it's it. Some things aren't it. And according to him, college ain't it, and I'm on his side. You got anything, last words to say, Mrs. Fernanda Rivera?
Yeah, we're definitely going to come back because I feel like there's just...
Oh, there's
layers.
a treasure
Layers
of
and layers.
layers and layers, like a Onion. He said he's 40. He's picking up his spat. He's got it. He's about to hit it. You see, you got like 13,000 gray hairs, but it don't matter. Oh, look at him. Hey, hard work right there, and we'll be getting more on him later. But we'll see you guys on the next episode.